there's one thing I don't like. It's a woman who doesn't know her place.
And that is the story of how Tamana became my favorite superstar of all time. And Joey Ryan too.
Why don't you head on to the back and whoop me up a sandwich, woman?
So I want to continue to experiment and add different elements to these videos. You guys can let me know what works, what doesn't, what I can do to improve, etc. This week, it's a comparison of Raw and TNA. I'll be making arguments for both sides using several points, and you guys can be the judge of which was better. While this one doesn't make a lot of sense because, like Brooke said,
Dad, I'm not 18 anymore. Why are you doing this?
It makes a hell of a lot more sense than the AJ Cena one.
John Cena and I had an inappropriate relationship while I was GM. I'm not GM anymore.
It's a lot more simple to understand. Hogan is just being an overprotective father. At least Brooke isn't being booked like a tramp that gets with everyone on the roster. You also got two of the best mic workers in the company today, along with Austin Aries. So the promos we get are guaranteed to be entertaining. Plus, it's benefiting both Bully and Aries by bringing out that hardcore side of their characters that they were starting to lose.
I mean, you kind of look like Brooke Hogan.
Plus, it's a big feud involving Hulk Hogan, so they're guaranteed to get as much TV time as it. AJ Lee isn't going to win any Actress of the Year awards, but she's definitely better than Brooke. She's actually a diva that can benefit from an angle like this just by being associated with a top star. The same opportunity goes to Dolph because unlike TNA, Dolph can actually have a match against the Hulk Hogan of today, and a win over Cena would do a lot for his rising career. It looks like they're trying to let their superstars get a little more edgy. Ryback, Punk, The Shield, Dolph, and even AJ were all being rebels, giving the middle finger to authority and saying, we're doing whatever the hell we want.
That's right, Vicky. There is no choice.
We're not the Nexus. If you're looking for the NWO, go buy the DVD.
But I'm not GM. I can date whoever I want.
It's too bad not everyone on the show is like this, because it's attitudes like this that make the show fun to watch. I mean, just look at the promos we've been getting from Punk and Dolph as of late. It's pure gold when they're allowed to just go all out.
You've been so alone your entire life that when someone pays you a little attention, you glom onto them and make them your entire world. And where does that leave you?
WWE has so much potential when the wrestlers aren't being held back by lazy writing and PG standards. You notice we're starting to see just how good certain stars can be when they don't have to deal with those problems. Sadly, besides those three storylines, the rest of the show is plagued by lackluster segments and feuds. Unlike WWE where they have to imply obscenities,
Or a word that rhymes with which.
TNA can actually say the damn word.
You little slug shit.
So you don't have wrestlers trying to choose their words carefully, and they don't have writers telling them word per word what to say. Which can be either a good or a bad thing. Some of them can go out there and cut epic unscripted promos.
I don't know how anybody can land this thing. Brooke, how do you do it?
Others make you wonder why they bother giving them the mic in the first place.
Hey, yo!
TNA and WWE have the same problem right now, where they have a couple of good things going on, while most of everything else just feels like, well, what's the point? The A&E Network is losing a lot of steam. Everyone on the roster that vowed to destroy them is now caught up in their own little drama and don't care that they're still going around attacking people every week. And the A&E Network isn't bothering to take advantage of the opportunity. Instead, they shifted their sights to the mid-card. That'd be like if the Shield stopped attacking Ryback because he's too busy with CM Punk, and instead they go after Antonio Cesaro because he has nothing better to do. But at least the thing with TNA is, you never really know where on the card certain people are going to be. Things are always constantly changing, different people get meshed up that you never thought would feud with each other, so it's a little more unpredictable than in the WWE. Not only is WWE having a man invade the division and put the woman back in the kitchen where they belong, but it's just one of now 3 Divas angles going on right now, whereas TNA is just rotating knockouts in the same type of feud that lasts no more than a month before that knockout turns jobber status until it's her turn for the title again. This match had a purpose, to establish Tamana's male dominance over the women, while Mickey and Fail was just there because they couldn't think of anything better for the number 1 contender to do than have a filler match. We're not going to get the type of matches from the Divas that we do from the Knockouts. That's one thing they'll always have over the Divas. The match between Mickey and Fail was not only better than Tamana's match, but it was better than every Raw Divas match this year, excluding the match where Nikki won the belt. This was fast-paced, had a lot of moves, counters, false finishes, storytelling, everything that makes a good match except a reason to have the match. Here's what I hate about both companies right now. If it's not a main event match, it's a boring, generic feud with no story behind it. This week was a prime example of that. Both Raw and TNA decided the best way to build a pay-per-view match was to have one of the wrestlers in that feud in a random match while their opponent takes the week off. In WWE's defense, as cheap as it is, at least they did something to get the feuding superstars involved with each other. Unlike TNA, where the commentators had to remind you about the pay-per-view, otherwise you wouldn't know about it. In TNA's defense, at least they haven't been giving obvious pay-per-view matches away for free. And when they do give us a pay-per-view worthy match, usually they wait a while before we get a real feud between the two guys that already beat each other in a random match. Unlike WWE, where they expect us to pay to watch the same match we just seen last week. Overall, that first hour overall was great. It felt like everything had a reason to be there, and it all advanced something. Even the Del Rio Khali stuff, at least they gave that match a reason to take place instead of just throwing it out there randomly like they do with everything. As for everything else after that, I still hate how WWE tries to waste their extra hour by throwing random, unneeded matches and giving them more time than they need, and replaying entire segments multiple times throughout the show. Overall, it had a few highlights, the matches were all fine, but it was too much filler. As for TNA, there was definitely a lot more going on than on Raw. A couple of main angles were interesting. Aries did a great job at entertaining throughout the whole night. The championship elimination stuff is always interesting. Putting Aries back in the X Division for one night felt fresh for some reason, even though it wasn't that long ago that he was champion. I guess it's just the idea of someone coming right out the main event and back to their roots in the lower mid-card. And with the way they're booking Aries right now, he might be able to do a lot to make the bout more interesting. But then again, they have less X Division guys than Knockouts now, and as awesome as he is, you can't carry a division on your own. I mean, remember his last reign? But that was just about it. So there is this week's Raw versus TNA. You can decide which show is better, and any feedback on the idea of this video would be much appreciated. Anyway, this has been MTO with the MTO More Review saying yada yada yada, blah blah blah, the end.